All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Garage to Greatness with me, your host, Alex Zeeb, and my partner,
Thomas Pena.
all right, guys, this week is going to be awesome. We have a fantastic guest for you, a good friend of mine, David Villanueva. He is going to tell us a little about what he does, how he got to where he was, and he has a pretty unique story, I think. So I'm pretty excited to hear what he has to say. What do you think, Thomas?
Absolutely. And let me tell you what's incredible is, you know, uh, some of the guests that we've had so far has been uh, a little bit older.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this young entrepreneur, listen, if you're in the younger generation, you definitely need to tune into this episode because this guy is going to show you some great secrets.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and bring him on, and let's see what good advice he's got for us.
Let's do it.
Let's hear his story. David, welcome into the show. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right, David. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, what it is that you do, and what business do you own?
Well, my name is David Villanueva. I'm a barber, and I own a barber shop, of course. Let's see. I'm 19. I recently graduated from high school in 2022. Right after that, went into barber school, and after that, saved up my money again and opened up my barber shop in my hometown.
So
Wow.
you're 19 and you own your own barber shop, right? And so, of course,
Yes,
I know all this stuff. We go back a little ways. We've done some projects together. But 19 years old, I mean, how do you open up a barber shop at 19?
Well, I mean, all glory to God, of course, but I gotta, give props to my parents and my brother for really pushing me towards the, greatest goal in life. Kind of lead them in the right path also because they didn't have as nice of an upbringing as I did. So I figured since they gave me such a good pathway, I might as well just make the most of it and keep going.
That is fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So now you have this barber shop at 19. You're very successful with it. Where do you see yourself going next?
Well, right now I'm looking at another property down in the valley, another barbershop to buy out, but I want to be owning, like, my biggest goal is to own at least 10 barbershops and at least 5 barber schools to, give more people the opportunity I had.
Wow, that's incredible. So let's talk to our other young viewers, right? Because like Thomas said earlier, we've had other guests in the show, and we've never had one that's 19 years old. I mean, I've always been the youngest guy on the show. And so, what advice do you have for other, 18, 19, 20-some-year-old people that want to be entrepreneurs? Because one thing that Thomas and I we've been talking about is that everyone always says, that's just not for me. I can't do it. That could never be me, but you've taken that and you've made that you. So how do what advice do you have to give other people that keep saying that to start their own thing up?
You're going to fail at everything. What I see with some of the people that I grew up with is that they're scared to fail or that they do fail and they just stop. You know what I mean? You just can't be afraid. You got to take it and learn from it and just keep going farther. In my first 2 months, I barely made enough to pay my rent and, pay my other bills. So, but I didn't let that, I didn't let that dumb me down because I knew I could be more. I just had to get my name out there, and just keep pushing forward, And that's really the only thing. You can't be, scared to do more. You have to be open to just keep going forward, And I mean, just, doing your best work for everything, you know what I mean? So for me, it would be every haircut, I'm putting my 100% effort into it, you know what I mean? Especially if it's a new client, because if you go 50% because you're tired on a new client, he's going to see your 50% and think that's you all the time. You can't show him that. You got to be 100% no matter what, Yeah, I mean, you might get tired, but we're men, you know what I mean? Men and women just got to keep on going and keep being strong.
That's neat because you talk about being tired. One of the things that I've always said, man, is don't quit when you're tired. Quit when you're done. That's when you stop. Let me ask you this, David. How important you've talked about your parents and a brother, how important has like mentorship been with you getting where you are now?
Very important. My dad, was raised up in Mexico, and he moved here when he was 8. Then when he turned 16, his parents moved back to Mexico, and he was homeless, living in his car. So I think about that every day and think about what I have that he didn't. Then my brother being raised up, he had a job when he was 13 years old and moved out when he was 16 years old. You know what I mean? So I think about that, and I think if I'm able to live at home, you know what I mean? If I'm able to save all my money because I have all these things given to me, I better make something great out of it. Then my brother, he's my biggest hero. I'd say my dad is too, but my brother has always been there for me. And so he just told me, just keep going. You know what I mean? Whenever it gets hard, that's when you have to keep going, because that's what makes you strong, just like calluses on your hand. If you keep on pushing, it's going to get hard, on your hand, and you're just going to get better and better to keep moving forward.
Very neat. I got kind of an oddball question for you. Is, you mentioned about, the big man upstairs and being grounded in Jesus. When I look at the different generations and stuff, I see that, man, your generation and a lot of younger generations than mine have really kind of pushed away from that. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't give anything too much to blame because everybody is their own person, but definitely, their phones and such, and definitely, how do I say this, social media, because, you don't see a lot of people going out, a lot of these celebrities going out and praising Jesus for their, their upbringing. You don't see that a whole lot, and even the parents, they're not pushing it on them, which you don't want to push anything onto anybody. But if you give the teachings of Jesus Christ onto everybody, they're going to find out how blessed they truly are to be alive.
Very cool. Very cool, man. Now, I know you talked about, you've got, you want to expand more. You ever thought about franchising, anything like that?
Yes. Well, franchising in a way that, I've kind of been like searching up like different businesses franchising. With McDonald's, it's not like McDonald's is, it's just one person running every every branch. It's individuals buying, a McDonald's restaurant and them running it. So that makes it super clean most times, you know what I mean? So that's something I want in my barbershop, to where I see other barbershops that franchise from, there was one that was like right by our barber school. They originally came from Texas, but the one here started failing because the owner wasn't there, to keep up, different status quos, I guess you could say, how you're supposed to act in a barbershop, how you're supposed to compose yourself, how good of hair you're supposed to cut. I kind of want a thing where I want it more locally, but I want to make sure that every barber shop is ran the same, as we all want perfect haircuts each time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're really on point with that too, David. Kind of bringing that community in there, that individual business owner in there, that's super important, because we all know when we go to certain, major haircutting places that we don't get the best quality haircuts, And so bringing that back into the community and keeping everybody involved, that's a phenomenal ways to have that to franchise. I think you have a great, fantastic idea with that. And we are super excited to see where you go in the future, because you have a long, long life ahead of you. And you're going to do some incredible things. I just have a great feeling about you, David.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so
sir.
Other than that, David, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to go ahead and end our episode here. Guys, we're going to go ahead and thank David for coming on, and we wish him best of luck in his future barbershop.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next week on another episode of Garage to Greatness.